Good evening, everyone. We'll just give a minute and make sure everyone gets connected to their audio. It looks good. Okay, perfect. Welcome to our workshop this evening. Um, I always laugh at my technology skills. It's telling me I'm screen sharing right across my face, so I feel very silly looking at my face being blocked out. So I'm Amanda. I'm going to be sharing first, but just as a quick intro, tonight we're talking about gentle sleep shaping for newborns. How this evening will roll is we're going to start by each taking an opportunity to share a little bit about our topic. Then, if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat at the bottom. Also, please make sure to let us know if you're planning to stick around for the breakout rooms, which will be happening at the end. As we just want to get the breakout rooms set up during the presentation, but we'll give you a bit of a rundown at the end on how that will operate. So, to get started, I am Amanda Kennedy. I am a postpartum doula with Helping Hands. And what I wanted to share around sleep shaping for babies, newborns in particular, is the connection between feeding and sleep. So, a full belly is always going to get you a lot better sleep. So, there's a huge connection. Most people are very aware at the beginning that food, feeding, and sleep are kind of their number one priorities around what things are going to look like. Um, we have to approach that a little differently at different stages. So, one of the strategies that I wanted to talk about using around feeding is the diaper change. So, when a baby is first born, they're really, really sleepy. So oftentimes, you're like, oh, baby needs diaper change their diaper, you start feeding, they fall asleep, and you think they're done, and you put them down, and then 20 minutes later, they're awake again because they're still hungry. So one of the things that we recommend and do quite regularly is to wait, if it's only a wet diaper or a little bit wet, is to start the feeding and use that diaper change mid feeding as a tool for getting that baby woken up a little bit more alert. They will inevitably pee, have a bowel movement during the feeding anyway. So you're kind of conserving diapers, which is kind of nice at times, but really is very helpful at waking them up and making sure they're really filling up that tank so that when you do put them down to sleep, they stay asleep for a good amount of time and you're actually able to get some rest in between feedings as well, which is usually pretty desirable for most new parents. A couple other pieces to address around feeding is really making sure you're taking the time to burp them, get that gas out, sometimes giving them some upright time to let their food settle. It is really important as well to reach out to a lactation consultant if you're breastfeeding or even if you're formula feeding. If there's anything that comes up, or even just for reassurance, that feeding piece will really connect to the sleep really closely, and making sure that they're all looked after is really important. Later, as baby gets older, you can switch to doing the diaper change kind of near the beginning of the feeding, because then you don't want them waking up. You want them to just eat. They've got more energy, they eat more efficiently, they fill up. Then you do a diaper change mid feeding or end of feeding, and you've woken them up, and then you have to work at getting them to sleep. So then we transition to doing a diaper change at the beginning. And then even a little later on, when they get older, we sometimes don't have to change their diaper at all at night. If they're in a disposable diaper, it holds quite a bit. And as long as they haven't had a bowel movement, we can actually put them in a diaper at bedtime and change it again in the morning. So we're doing as little as possible to disturb their sleep other than just feeding them. So that's just one of the ways that we see differences in feeding as it connects to sleep. And very happy to talk about that more. And a doula is really good at guiding you around that as well. I am going to pass it on to Mandy.
Hello, I'm Mandy. I'm a postpartum doula at Helping Hands, and I want to talk tonight about implementing routines. Newborns don't really have developed a circadian rhythm at birth, but it's always good to implement small routines from the early weeks on, just to provide structure. That helps as well as the parents as well as the baby. So you can just implement simple patterns and that help the baby to differentiate between day and night, and that will help you as the baby grows. And so usually you can start or to be more consistent in routines when the baby is around 4 weeks, but it's always good to start earlier. And then at when the baby is between 3 and 4 months, routines can be very beneficial. So I want to talk about two routines. One is creating a different like a difference between day and night. So it's very effective to have early routines that involve your baby to help distinguish between daytime and nighttime. So during daytime, you can have normal household lighting and let natural light go into your rooms. You can maintain normal noise levels. Also, when the baby's having the nap time, you can have the light a little bit lighter than during the night, and let the baby still hear noises in the house. So continue regular activities, and that can help the baby to learn that it's daytime, and daytime is for activity and more engagement. And then as the evening approaches, you can create a different atmosphere. That means dim the light throughout your home, switch to quieter activities, speak in a softer tone around your baby. And that can be, those things can be a powerful cue for your baby, especially when they are a little bit older, like around 4 weeks, or even like, especially when they are around 3 to 4 months old. And they will learn that it's nighttime now and it's time to sleep and be quiet, and playtime is over. That's for the older babies. So it's a little bit tricky during the summer month when daylight extends into the bedtime. So blackout curtains can help during that time. And yeah. And then my second routine would be to implement a bedtime routine. In the early weeks, bedtime routine can be very simple, like just a little bath time, or singing a special song that's the bedtime song, for example, or switching into pajamas. And then as the baby grows older, you can implement more things like bath time that's a little bit longer, or reading books, have like a special cuddle time or something like that. And yeah, that will help your baby to learn gradually as it grows older that what it means to go to bed, and they will know the cues. So there is something that's recommended. It's called the 3 B's: bath, book, bed, which is like an excellent framework that works well for many families. The bath relaxes the baby and gives clearly signals that bedtime is approaching. A short story or lullaby can help, and then in the early like having a good sleep environment help too. And yeah, that's some routines that you can start early, and you can yeah, implement them from the newborn stage on, and then you can like expand them as you like. So that's from my side, and I pass it on to the next doula.
Hello, my name is Jordan, and I'm a postpartum doula with Helping Hands. And today I wanted to share a few quick tips on understanding your newborn's sleep cues, as well as, just sharing some ideas for how to get better sleep as new parents. So, we've most likely all seen a baby meltdown in exhaustion, and it's heartbreaking because they're crying and overtired, and we've most likely missed them trying to communicate with us earlier that they were ready for a nap. Um, and that's okay. Typically, most people only recognize newborns' tired, late cues, right? And that could look like crying, arching your back, frantic movement, and just very obvious frustration. But if we were to catch babies' sleep signals and cues a little earlier, we'd ultimately have happier babies and calmer parents. So, earlier sleep cues for babies will look like rubbing their face or their eyes red eyebrows right around this area, kind of T-zone, staring off into space, zoning out, and just looking away from things that typically stimulate them. So, like your face or toys, right? Just losing interest in that completely. Babies will yawn, and earlier than you think they'd yawn. And then they could either become a little quieter and less active or start to get fussy, right? So, if we catch these earlier signs, it's the perfect time to kind of try and get them down in that sleep window, because waiting too long until they're overtired and crying ultimately makes it harder for them to get down for sleep and to stay asleep. So we kind of want to jump on that opportunity once we see them yawning to get them down for a nap. And then a couple sleep tips for parents. This one kind of sounds like a cliche, but sleep when your baby is sleeping. Um, Making up for the interrupted hours during the night using naps throughout the day can be super helpful. And kind of adding on to that, shifting your expectations of what sleep is supposed to look like right now. It's not likely that you're going to come home from the hospital and have a baby sleep 7 hours throughout the night, right? So, making up for that long stretch at night by taking naps throughout the day can help you get the rest that you need. The next thing is to take shifts if you can. So, introducing the idea of protecting one stretch of sleep. If you have a partner, family, friends, or a doula coming over during the day or night to help you out, you can ask for a 2, 3, 4 hour stretch of uninterrupted sleep, or just time to rest and be with yourself. The third thing is to use safe co sleeping aids if that feels comfortable to you. So, a bedside bassinet, or if you're comfortable co sleeping, which Sharon is going to talk more about, that can make nighttime feeds and settling a lot easier without fully having to get up and go to the other rooms. And yeah, so again, just easier. Sorry, I don't know if you guys can hear my cat meowing right now. I locked him out. Anyways, the next one is prioritizing rest over tasks. So it's tempting to like want to clean and do laundry while your baby's sleeping, but if you're exhausted, your rest is more important than the dishes. And then accepting help is a huge one. If you have family or friends bringing over food or offering to hold the baby or run errands for you, say yes. You know, it frees up time for you to nap, shower, eat, do what you need, right? And I think it's also just important to recognize that this is a season. Newborn sleep can be unpredictable, but over time, your sleep and your baby's sleep will improve. So just hang in there. I will pass it over to Sharon.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sharon. I am a postpartum doula with Helping Hands. So I have a few little tips and tricks to share with you tonight. One thing is that usually around the dinner hour, babies will start to cluster feed. And it's good to be aware of that. The baby's going to be hungry, hungry, hungry. If you're breastfeeding, you're going to feel like you haven't had a chance to put this baby down. They'll take little mini naps, breaks in between, but they're really preparing for a longer stretch overnight. So that is very common. And if you're prepared for it, it's a lot easier to deal with. Like, don't try and make supper in that time. Just spend time with your baby, and they will get filled up and be ready for a bit of a longer stretch. Most babies can safely go, not in the first week or two, but after about 3 weeks, they should be able to do 1 4-hour long stretch through the night that is not harmful to them. It is actually beneficial because they get some really good sleep. Contact sleeping is, when the baby wants to sleep on you, and they always want to sleep on you. And that is not a bad thing. Some people feel like, oh, I put them down, put them in the bassinet, put them down, put them down. That's not necessarily the way that you want to bond with your child. So during the day, having contact naps with the baby, just do it safely. So as long as you're not going to be in an armchair with pillows behind you where you know, the baby could roll off and get, you know, stop breathing in a pillow. It's totally safe, especially if you've got another person home with you. So say your partner, he could have the baby on him for contact nap. You're there to keep an eye on, check every couple of minutes, make sure everything is good. So that's one way that is good to get some rest and does not set up bad habits for the future. So a lot of times people are very concerned that if they start this, it's going to be a bad habit. They're too young to understand how to start bad habits. So just letting them bond with you is more important. Like Jordan said, co-sleeping is another question that I get from people a lot. A lot of times if mom is breastfeeding, she feels very nervous that she might fall asleep in the nursing chair and drop the baby. So I do sometimes recommend feeding in the bed. If by chance you do fall asleep or the baby falls asleep, you've got the whole mattress. The only thing is you really shouldn't let them sleep like that all the time. There is always the very rare opportunity, a situation where they could roll face down onto your soft mattress, and that's very dangerous. If you haven't got your bassinet yet, there's some really great bassinets. There's one that has the side that collapses down. So what you do is you bring the bassinet, tuck it in really tight to your bed, and you just put the side of the bassinet down. And basically, the baby is in the bassinet, but at arm's length so that you can touch the baby. If the baby fusses, you're right there. And so this is a really good way to co-sleep because they're safe in their own little bassinet, but they're right there at arm's length. So that's a little tip there that those bassinets seem to be invaluable. Another thing is to realize that babies have a lot of active sleeping. Okay, so if they're a little bit squeaky or cry out or kicking or their eyes flutter or something, sometimes your reaction is to want to pick them up to, you know, calm them before they get all upset. But really, they are asleep. They are asleep, and just a gentle hand on the chest and just a little bit of, you know, a little jiggle just to let them know you're there. They are sleeping, so don't wake them up when they have their active sleep cycle. Another good thing to start habit is to get them exposed to sunlight. And the best sunlight is first thing in the morning. So when they have their first time in the morning wake, just take them to the window and let them see the sun. We don't suggest putting them out in the backyard and, you know, let them get a suntan, but it does actually start the whole process of them starting to make some melatonin, which they don't usually make till they're around 3 months. So that's why it's challenging to try and do any kind of sleep shaping before that time. Last but not least, I wanted to tell you guys about sleeping in car seats or those swings. It's not recommended to leave babies in the swing or the car seat for long periods of time. And I know if you're going on a trip, it's like, oh, I have to stop. It is important because when the baby is in more of an upright or on a slant, there's the chance that they're not getting a full lungful of air. Their head can crook, and that can also block off some of their little areas. So it's really important to really keep your eye on them when you are driving, to stop every so often if you need to readjust them. Or I've had so many families who come in from somewhere and the baby's asleep in the car seat and they want to keep them in the car seat. It's not recommended because they're still in that upright position. But a lot of car seats you can tip on their back. Tip it so the baby is now flat. Their legs are up, but their back is flat. And as long as their neck and their head is straight, they should be fine. But with any of these suggestions, you really have to keep your eye on them because babies change positions. Babies do all kinds of stuff. You're going to be amazed at what you didn't think your baby could do that. And oh my God, look what the baby did. So those are ways to gently start getting your baby used to a routine so that eventually they will know the difference between day and night. And in the evening, you'll be able to plan your evening so that you can put the baby down and expect that longer stretch of sleep and that they should be good. So that's just some of the tips I have for tonight. I hope all of you are going to join us in the breakout rooms, because if you have any questions, or it doesn't even have to be about the sleep, anything that we can chat about, we'd love to meet you. So I'll give it back to Amanda and she'll tell you about the breakout rooms.
Thank you, Sharon. And yes, now we're going to move into the breakout rooms portion of our evening.